There is something about floor-to-ceiling bookcases. You know, the ones that are covered in books and where you might even need a ladder to reach the top shelves. I always love that. So when we moved into this house, we suddenly had this big empty wall and a ton of books with nowhere to put them. Now, I actually made 2 videos in this series already, and you can pause this right now and go and check them out. Okay, up to speed? Now you know that I first tackled the corner fireplace unit and then the bottom unit for the main library. But the goal for this whole project is to create enough storage for all of these books, incorporate a home theater system with speakers, receiver, etc., add LED lighting on all the shelves, make beautiful wooden counters, and incorporate a ladder to reach the top shelves. Basically, I guess I'm looking to create the ultimate built-in library. So let's continue the build, shall we? Now, this is a pretty big project, and in total here I'm actually using about 12 sheets of 3/4 inch and 4 sheets of 1/4 inch pure bond plywood. This is nice stuff, perfect for this build, because the plywood is made with formaldehyde-free soy-based glue, so there won't be any weird off-gassing. You know how some plywoods sometimes have a really weird smell, and you don't want that in your home? Well, this is the opposite of that. A high-quality product and nice to work with, tight layers without any voids, and a good price. You can check it out at Home Depot. So after cutting the sections to size, I routed grooves for where the lights are going to go, then painting and assembly work. And for all of these cases, I'm assembling real simply using clamps and screws. So this is the left unit, different counter heights. Remember, the center one is a little higher than the ones on the sides. And I'm actually going to have the left side be on the left counter, but this side is going to rest on the middle counter. So these two are of slightly different heights. I'm planning to add a ladder with a bar, and so this is the height exactly that I need to have the bar across.
It has nothing to do with the fact that we're getting intelligent correctly and taking your time. It's just that you have a bias against these DC movies.
So over here I'm gonna have a speaker sit. This shelf be a little bit shorter with the divider so that the speaker is kind of encapsulated. I had almost forgot about the speaker. I had to make sure I added that part. Yeah, so this is going almost to the ceiling with a little bit of space for molding. So by putting this shelf higher to account for the ladder rack, I actually squeezed in another shelf. So this is the unit for the right side, and as you can see, it's quite long. This is basically 6 feet tall and 6 feet wide, so a big square. And it just looks massive. So the speaker's going to be here, so there's going to be a divider here, and I'm going to add another divider here. Now that's going to pull it secure to the next shelf. Now I got these little brackets here, so I'm going to secure probably 2 brackets to this other shelf, and that's going to hold everything in place to the studs. So I'll get the section for the speaker sectioned off here. So in picking out which lights I wanted, I custom ordered these 90 CRI LED lights. I wanted some that were a little bit farther apart, so they were not really close apart. And then I'm cutting strips of them and spacing that out, because I don't want like the whole light strip on every single shelf, because that's just too much lighting. But I wanted to make sure that the light was really good quality. So for this whole project, I'm using about 2 rolls, which is about 300 lights. There's 150 lights per roll. Now adding lights like this, I mean, it's a lot of finicky work doing all the soldering, cutting all the lines, putting them all together, and then gluing them onto the shelves here. But it's really impossible to get that kind of result unless you do that. So the technique that I found really works well when you're gluing on the strips is first taking off the paper, then putting some spots of the polyurethane glue, and then put in hot glue. And then I stick that in, and then the hot glue immediately clamps it in and gives it a little bit of time for the polyurethane glue to set.
Okay, so the counters. Since this wall measures 15 feet long, I decided to break it up into 3 counters. The middle section will be a little deeper and a little higher than the other ones on each side. I'm using rough sawn white oak for this. Since the middle counter is quite deep, I had to glue 2 pieces together, and for that I'm using dowels and this little jig, which works quite nice. It basically helps you line up where the holes need to go so everything fits together beautifully. Once the glue was complete, I had to plane it even. This is too wide right now for my power planer, so hand plane it is.
Pretty good, and it's not terribly little bit still, but
Yeah.
I'm marking out the high spots, then focusing on those areas, and then flipping it over a couple of times to see if it's getting flat. Okay, then I still had the right counter to do. So I began with hand planing, then I cut it to size. Used the power planer. Then finally it was time to route both of the counters with a round over bit to get it nice and smooth. And for a finish, I used Armor Seal, which adds a really nice look and feel, I think, and works really well with the white oak. White oak I just love, though. It's such a nice wood. So after all that work, it was time to drill holes in the counters. So the middle unit needs to funnel a bunch of cords from the TV and the speaker down, so using a hole saw here. And this is quite a bit to go through, actually, in terms of material. But it looks good once you cap it here, and that really finishes it off nicely.
so I got the counters as well as these 2 units here, and this is just here to test it to make sure everything fits and it's working good. So the lights are in, looks great. So there's gonna be this cherry plywood backing on all the shelving, but I'm thinking about painting the area right where the TV is going, right behind it, like in a charcoal black, and not put any lighting strips on the bottom of that one, because I want it to almost feel like a black hole where the TV is.
Next, it was time for the backing. So this is 1/4 inch cherry plywood from Pure Bond. And you can order these project panels and a lot of other wood species over at the Home Depot website. To attach, I'm simply using a nail gun and making sure that I'm nailing into the shelves and the frame. Then finally ready to attach these units. So using a laser level here to mark out where the studs are.
Here you can really see how nice the plywood is. It really pops against the white. I think it's just beautiful, and it really adds a very nice accent. So for a finish for the plywood, I use some water-based polyurethane, which goes on really nice and adds a bit of protection. And I actually added that on top of the painted shelves as well. So to be able to keep this counter here nice and open without any support, without any dividers, I'm adding some small brackets under here and here and here into the studs. And with the dividers of the shelves here, and combined with that, it should keep everything rigid without any sagging. So moved a bunch of books on here for the sagging test. These are heavy, so we'll see. Looks good so far.
So I decided to do the painting behind the TV, and I actually ended up doing 3 coats because it wouldn't cover very well. Then the next piece to go up was the unit above the TV, so here I'm just painting it white. And on the side of that piece I've got the plywood routed, and then the wires for the lighting have been hot glued in there. And this side here will be butting up against the right unit, so just securing that here, making sure everything lines up correctly. And some of the wires are secured to the top here, and this will be covered by molding later.
Okay guys, so I'm gonna stop it right there. So as you can see, I'm still not quite done. I have a couple of things to do, namely the ladder. I'm gonna put doors on some of the base cabinet. I have trim and molding and just a bunch of finishing work in general. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe if this is your first time here. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my new videos. There seem to have been some issues about that, but let's resolve that. Hit that little bell. If you have any questions about this build in this video, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.